So we're going to come into constructive rest posture. We're on our backs. This is a nice way to get to the floor. This is constructive rest posture. Notice your jaw. Today we're going to notice how the jaw is impacted by our posture, by our practice today. So if you're not sure about what to do with the feet, one foot can come up, then the other, and then just let the feet fall naturally to the floor. That's how you find your personalized constructive rest posture. And now we're going to add an element to this posture. We're going to take our arms across our heart area, and we're going to maybe touch the rib cage. And we're going to use the weight of our arms to gently release through the rib cage and the upper back. So when we bring the weightedness of our arms to this part of the body, you might notice a keen awareness of the space between the shoulder blades. If you're familiar with balasana, also known as child's pose, which is done on the knees traditionally, this cross-armed posture brings the same kind of relaxation to the body, a sense of safety. And as you allow the weight of your body to settle into the floor, notice what's happening with your jaw as your body gets a wee bit heavier. So much of the time we hold ourselves in places that we're not even aware we're holding. And so when we have permission to relax, take full advantage of that, because our nervous system is overstimulated for most of us, and finding relaxation is a balm to our spirit. The breath begins to deepen. And then we're going to release our arms and bring the hands to rest somewhere next to the pelvis, a comfortable position, and have those palms turned down, or maybe on the outer edge of the palm, pinky side, if palms down doesn't feel good. So find your next position in constructive rest. Notice your breath as it moves in and out of the body. On the next out breath, press your low back into the mat as the left leg draws in, and then hold behind the knees. Hold behind the left knee. Flex the foot. This is Apanasana. Another posture. And just allow yourself to settle here. So we've drawn it in toward our heart. And now we're going to bring it back just a little bit so that the knee and the hip joint line up. And just notice how that feels. Then we're going to take the left knee and we're going to drape it over the right. Let your hands relax down. And then gently allow the roll of the pelvis to travel to the left, not too far. And then we come back to center. We're going to roll to the left, not too far, and come back to center. And again, as we go to the left, you might notice you come onto the inner edge of the right foot. And then we come back to center. This is helping to lubricate the hips. So we did a little gliding posture. If we were together on Wednesday, we did a little gliding posture seated. This is that posture. When we were seated, our ankles were crossed. This is that same posture, only a little different configuration. You might notice your head likes to turn in the same direction as the knee. That's great because that's showing us that the spine is connecting to the feet and to the head. We're going to come back to center. Unwrap that leg. Bring it first right above the hip joint so the knee is in alignment with the hip joint. Then draw it into the heart. Nice hug, maybe a little rock right and left. Flex that foot. And we're going to release this foot to the floor. So there's two ways to do it. A variation can be with a long leg, flexed foot, lower slowly to the floor. That's a deep abdominal workout. Or maybe it just feels better today to slowly release the bent knee to the floor. You decide what's going to work for you. We come back to center, we pause, notice the jaw. Notice the breath as it moves in and out of the body. On the next out breath, we're going to press the low back into the mat and draw the right leg in now. Flexed foot, Apanasana. We're holding that leg close to our heart. Maybe the thigh touches the torso, maybe it doesn't. Doesn't matter. We're drawing it in and we're breathing here and allowing the body to soften. And now we're going to release that leg, lining up the knee and the hip joint, noticing that. Breathe here. And now we're going to drape the legs together so the right leg comes over the left. And if that doesn't feel good, maybe just come to the crossed ankle. And now we're going to take this rolling to the right side. So we don't travel too far. It's kind of just going to the edge of the pelvic bowl. Come back to center. Notice the left foot turning onto the inner edge of the left foot. Notice the point at which the head begins to join this dance. Just notice how all of a sudden you're starting to feel the connection all the way from the foot to the head. So we're gliding in the hip joint and we're also rotating our spine. Excuse me. And then the next time we're back at center, we're going to draw that knee in toward our heart again. Flex the foot. Breathe here. And then we extend that leg to the sky. If that feels good, keep the foot flexed. We're going to return this foot to the floor. Maybe you're doing it with a bent knee. Maybe you're doing it with a full, long lever that is your leg. You decide what's going to work best for you. Travel slowly through this. And when that foot is on the floor, we're coming back to constructive rest. We're going to cross our arms again, switch the cross of the arms. So there's a usual way that you do it. So go to the usual way and then flip it over and just let the weight of the arms deepen the sensation around the rib cage. We're going to come on to our tummies now. So roll on over, make your way onto your belly. Make a hand pillow. So stack your hands and let your forehead rest on your hands. Scan your back. Notice what's happening in your back. Does it feel better to have the tops of your feet resting on the floor? Or does it feel better to have the toes turned under? You decide what feels best for your body today. Now we're going to press up. And we're going to bring the elbows underneath the shoulder joint. Both sides. This is Sphinx pose. So the legs are long and the heart is lifted. Keep the head in alignment with the spine. So looking up is less preferable than looking at a space between the hands, maybe a foot ahead of the hands. And just notice your back. Notice where your feet are and how they feel. So when we talk about working with the psoas, which we're doing this month, that lovely deep muscle that connects our torso to our legs, this is a stretch that gets into the upper part of the psoas. We'll go to the lower in a few minutes. And now we're going to come back to our hand pillow and rest. Bring the feet up. Keep the thighs on the floor, the knees on the floor, and just rock gently right and left. And now we're going to come into baby cobra. So we bring our hands to rest somewhere next to our pelvis. You decide how far your hands need to be away from the pelvis in order to find ease. The palms are down here. And we're going to keep the palms in contact with the floor throughout this practice. We're going to bring our feet so that the tops of the feet are down. Unless that's uncomfortable, then you can always turn your toes under. But if you can bring your feet together and the tops of your feet, do that. Breathe in, and we're going to lift up. And we press into the hands, and we're not going to go too high. We're just lifting and we're strengthening our low back as well as stretching the front of the psoas. So we're strengthening these muscles on either side of the low back that are active part of core strength. We're pausing here and breathing. And then slowly lower back to the mat. On the next in-breath, we're going to rise again. There's really no destination here. We're just creating suppleness and strength and stability in our body with this practice. One more nice breath, and then we'll release to the mat. And one more time, we're going to lift. Breathing. And then releasing to the floor, create that nice hand pillow again. Rest your forehead or your chin on your hand pillow. Lift the legs. Lift the feet. And we rock right and left. And then gently, we're going to make our way back onto our backs. So we roll over. We come back to constructive rest posture. Now notice what's happened in your jaw with just a few basic, simple practices. Walking the feet out now as wide as your mat. We're gently going to take the knees to the right side and then to the left. We're just going to go back and forth, allowing the body to soften. Allowing the head to be part of the action, traveling in the same direction, perhaps as your knees. Noticing your hip flexors. Is one side tighter than the other? Just noticing that. And breathing into any of the tight bits. And the next time, let's say the next time we're on the left side, we're going to allow our body to relax here and deepen the stretch. We're going to slide the right arm above the head on the floor, and the left hand is going to come and hold that wrist. This is if your shoulders allow. And then we're going to press gently into the right knee, the inside of the right knee, and tilt that right side of the pelvis up just a little bit. It might feel good to look to the right or the left. You decide what's going to feel best for you. And then we ease down first the arms, let the arms slide down. And then we roll across the back of the pelvis, opening the right leg. That's going to bring the left leg with it. And we come on to the right side. And we just notice, wow, this side's a little tighter for me than the other. You might notice the same thing, or vice versa. Pause here. Breathe. And then slide that left hand above the head if the shoulder allows. And holding the left wrist with the right hand, we're going to lift the left side of the pelvis as we press the knee a little closer to the floor toward the opposite foot. Breathe here. And then slowly begin to release the arms, making our way back to center. Breathe here. On the next out breath, press into the low back, and one leg at a time, we're going to draw the knees into the heart. Maybe taking the legs as wide as the torso, rocking gently right and left. And then we bring those feet back to the mat. Constructive rest posture. Notice the jaw and the breath. And then we're going to secure 2 blocks. If you don't have blocks, that's okay. This posture can be done just starting in constructive rest. If you have blocks, we're going to press our feet into the mat, lift our pelvis to the sky, coming up into bridge, and then we slide both blocks underneath the pelvis, and we settle here. This is supported bridge, or perhaps you're in constructive rest. We're going to press into the blocks as we draw that left leg in, flex the foot. Now we slide the right leg out, flex that foot. So the toes are coming back toward the knee. And we're pausing here in a deep psoas stretch. So we did work the top of that psoas muscle. Now we're working in the hip flexors, which is where the psoas plugs in. If you'd like a little more, you could take, so if the right leg is extended, the right arm extends above the head. If that feels good, you'll probably notice the stretch deepening in the mid-torso. Did you notice if your breath has stopped moving? Reconnect with the breath. So this posture, 1 or 2 minutes a day on each leg, helps the body by decreasing low back strain. Sliding the right foot to standing, the left foot returns to the mat. Pause for a moment. And then pressing into the block, we're going to draw the right leg in. I'm going to rearrange myself just a little bit. Right leg comes in, left leg extends long, flexing both feet. Press through the heel of the extended leg. And if you'd like a little bit more, you can extend the left arm and reach. So pressing through the heel, reaching through the hand, or just stay with the hands supporting the leg. Breathing here. Nice breath. Nice stretch. And to come out of this, we slide the left foot to standing. The right leg returns to the floor. Pause for a moment. Then pressing into the feet, we're going to lift our pelvis, slide the blocks out, and we come back to constructive rest posture. Perhaps you want to explore the first posture we began with, which was crossing the arms and weighting the rib cage. Perhaps noticing, does it feel the same? Is it different? And then we release into shavasana, our final resting posture. Perhaps your shavasana is constructive rest. The invitation in shavasana is to allow the body to integrate the practice. If possible, turn the palms up. This is a full relaxation. Palms down signals the body that it's time to move. Palms up is a surrender. Whether your legs are long or you're in constructive rest. We pause now and breathe. Today's thought is from Rumi. Yesterday I was clever, so I wanted to change the world. Today I am wise, so I am changing myself. Rumi. I'm going to invite you to gently begin to deepen your breath. Draw your feet to standing on the mat if they're not already there. Gently make your way to one side. Gather breath there. And then gently press yourself to seated. And we open our arms wide as we gather all the blessings that already exist, and we draw them into our hearts in appreciation and gratitude we all say namaste.